Hello and welcome to Cooking the Books with Heather. Today we are going to be continuing to work out of Teresa Carl Sanders' Outlander Kitchen Cookbook because Outlander season 6 is currently airing and I'm super excited about it. So today we're going to be making Fiona's cinnamon scones. That's how we say it here in the United States. I don't know how anybody else might say scones. Scones, I think, whatever.
Sconies.
What? Anyway. So I saw this and it looked really great and there's no fruits in there my kids won't eat and they like cinnamon. So we're gonna be making these for brunch today. And I've got everything, almost everything, all measured out here. And we have several different steps. So we're gonna get started. My oven is heated to 425 degrees Fahrenheit, and I have a rack in the middle of the oven for baking. And I also have parchment on my baking sheet because that's how I do it usually, and that is what she suggests as well. So everything's all prepared there. First thing we need to do is have some this is dark brown sugar and the cinnamon that's going to go in our cinnamon scones. So we're going to mix these things together in this bowl. And I'm just going to use a spoon because why not? But I just want to get these mixed together so that it is evenly distributed. That is good enough for me. Set that aside. And then we have our flour. This is just all-purpose flour, pre-measured, some regular granulated white sugar, and then in here we have some kosher salt, some baking soda, and some baking powder. And this all goes in here. And we're supposed to mix this up. And now I need to get my cold butter, which I have not got out here because it does need to be cold. Be right back. I've got a grater here and we're going to just grate this butter into this flour mixture. I'm gonna move this out of my way so I don't knock it over. So I'm just going to take my cold butter and grate it. This is why it needs to be cold. I know that we have done this once before. I will have to look and see which recipe that was for because I don't remember, but when I find it, I'll link it up here. It was probably biscuits, but I don't remember which biscuits. It's not the ones from this book. All right, now I'm just trying not to grate my fingers. That's good. Now, get all of this butter off. And now we just mix this in to get it get the butter coated with the flour mixture. This means we don't have to sort of cut the butter into the flour, and we'll get nice little pieces of butter mixed in the flour to hopefully make it a little more flaky with less work. There we go. And now yet another mixture. I have some whole milk, well, approximated whole milk, and some plain yogurt. Mine is Greek because that is what I could find in a relatively small container because we don't use a lot of plain yogurt around here. And I'm just going to mix this up in my measuring cup here with a small whisk. Okay, so I've got this all mixed together. And now we just add this to our flour mixture, and that is our dough. She says it should be a slightly sticky ball of dough when we are done. There we go. So I think I'm going to put a little more milk in just to make up for that yogurt being so thick. I'm actually going with half and half since I used 2% milk plus a little half and half. All right. Oh, that's because I was missing. Okay, the recipe has the milk measured as a certain amount plus 2 tablespoons, and later you use 2 tablespoons for the glaze that we're making. But it doesn't say only the half cup here. Sorry, it doesn't say to only use the first measurement here. It just says stir the milk and yogurt together. So I don't know. I'm trying to add maybe a couple tablespoons and hopefully that will be right. I try not to research these. Like if she has a website, and I will link that below. And often the recipes are there, but I try to only go by the book on this channel, just so, you know, we see how well the book recipes work. All right, I think this will be okay. Now it is a slightly sticky dough. We're gonna call that good. I think I've added about 2 tablespoons. I don't know, not sure. But now we need to chill this in the refrigerator for 10 to 15 minutes. So I'll do that and we'll be back. Okay, so now my dough has been rested in the refrigerator for about 15 minutes and we're gonna roll them out. I have my flour over here. So on a lightly floured board, we're going to turn this out. Almost lost some. So we're supposed to put a little bit more flour on here and lightly knead it 5 or 6 times. I think we're just kind of helping it to come together. All right, I'm gonna call that good. Put a little more flour underneath it because it is pretty sticky now. And we were supposed to do this before we chilled it. I'm gonna call this done, whatever. We were supposed to do this part before we chilled it. I did not read very well. Anyway, so that's done. And now we're going to roll this out into a 12 by 12 square. I'm just estimating this. That is close enough. So now we're going to sprinkle our cinnamon sugar over in a thick layer. I assume we use all of it. Now sort of press it in with our palms, supposedly lightly. There we go. And now I'm going to roll it up tightly into a log. She says that you can use a bench scraper if you need to release it from your surface. Mine seems okay. All right, I think that's pretty tightly into a log. Only lost a little bit of our filling. So at this point, it kind of feels like cinnamon rolls, but it's not. Once you pat it out to about 4 inches by 12. That's about right. I'm going to use, you can use a sharp knife or a bench scraper. I'm going to cut it into quarters, sort of approximate. There we go. And then each one of these you cut along the diagonal. So we're going to make 8 scones, I guess. Now we're going to put this on our baking sheet. It doesn't say how far apart, but I assume that they will rise a bit like biscuits. Now, this part was not in the ingredients, but I need to melt some butter to brush over the tops. So I'm going to get that done. Okay, so got my melted butter. I went with unsalted just because this is a relatively sweet application. A little bit of salt wouldn't hurt though. I don't think it really matters for this step. I'm going to brush them pretty liberally with butter. Okay, so these go into my 425-degree oven for 18 to 22 minutes. And after they come out, I don't want to go ahead, I don't want to make this too far ahead because I don't want it to get all crunchy. But after they come out, while they're cooling, we're going to make a glaze to go on top of these. So we will see you in 18 to 22 minutes when these are all done. Okay. So I think these look nicely browned. Some of them have sort of slid apart, which is not great. We're gonna let these cool, and I'm really glad we had parchment down because there's gonna be one place where we have some sugar all on my pan, but other than that, it should all be easy to get off. Anyway, we're gonna put this on a rack, let them cool, and we're gonna make a glaze to go on them. Excuse the sizzling in the background. I'm making some sausages to have with these. She says to let them cool for about 20 minutes, but you do want to serve them warm. So while they're still slightly warm. So 1 second. So we're just going to stir up some confectioner sugar with, this is supposed to be whole milk, but I'm going to use half and half because, well, it's what I have. And I wasn't super precise when I measured my sugar, so I might need a little bit more, but we'll see. We just want a glaze. We don't want it to be too thick or too thin, but I think this will actually be okay. All right. I might get just a tiny bit more, but we'll see. I'm going to let this sit until our scones are ready, and if it dries up a little bit too much, I think that's a good texture. That's a good consistency to sort of drizzle over. But If it dries up a bit too much, I'll put a tiny bit more of this in there. But that's it. We're gonna wait for those to cool a little bit so we can take them off of that tray and hopefully not fall apart. And we're gonna drizzle them with our glaze and serve them. So we'll show you what they look like and let you know what we think in just a minute. On this episode of Cooking the Books with Heather, you watched me make Fiona's cinnamon scones from Teresa Carl Sanders' Outlander Kitchen Cookbook. And these were really almost like a quick bread version of cinnamon rolls. So it's not yeasted. You use, baking powder, baking soda, and it's sort of a biscuit method, scone method. But you do sort of fold up or roll up the cinnamon and sugar in the middle, and then it kind of turns out like a cinnamon roll. So the three of my family who like cinnamon rolls really liked them, had no problem with them. One of my children doesn't love cinnamon rolls, so she ate it but was not very pleased with it. So if you like cinnamon rolls, you will like these. Mine did. Some of them sort of slid and became a little bit messy. I don't know if that's because I didn't roll it tight enough, or I did put, when I was making the final rectangle, I put my seam side up. I probably should have put that on the bottom. Don't know that that would have helped with the sliding, but maybe. Might have helped them look a little bit prettier, but they still all tasted really good. It's not super difficult. I really like grating the butter into the batter because that means you work it less to get it into small pieces. So I like that method. We've used it a couple of other times. I'll link them when I can. I'm not sure if one will be before or after this because we've done it very recently. So we'll see. They're really simple scones. And I was going to tell you that she includes lots of options for making them different than a cinnamon scone, or adding things to them, like you could add pecans or walnuts. You could add raisins if you want. Oh, she also says raisins soaked in some whiskey. That would be delicious. Although we're not huge raisin fans, I think the whiskey would probably help that. Or blueberries and some sugar, regular sugar with lemon zest. So basically you could fill these with anything that you think would go well in them. And I think we will probably try something else just to see if, it's something that the whole family likes. Probably not blueberries, because the same child who doesn't like cinnamon rolls also really hates blueberries. But the rest of us would eat it. So maybe. It's strawberry season. I wonder if we could do something with strawberries there, or if they would have too much liquid in them. We'll see what I come up with. And if I come up with anything, I'll let you know down below. Anyway, if you enjoyed watching me make this, please give me a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button and come back and watch me make something else next week.